Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start as we do by saying to Iceman Jason, Javier, Fitz, McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, to the guys from the Weathered Soul Media Group, to Boomer Bob, to Kate, the Duchess of New Jersey, to George, sponsor of the World of Blaze podcast, and Random Thoughts with George and Manuel, to Billy G, to, let's see, who else, to Josh from New Hampshire, to Bill and Dana of Clockham Craft Coffee, and last but not least, to Lisa. Thank you guys for your continued support. If you're watching the live stream, you can probably see that, or the replay of the live stream, since I think the only person in the live stream right now is myself and my lovely wife, Shauna, who is my constant supporter, even though she doesn't get a shout out at the beginning of the show because she don't give me no monies. So since she don't give me no money, she don't get no shout out. But if you're watching the live stream or the replay of the live stream, you will see that things are once again looking all fucked up. No intro splash screen, no countdown thing, none of the stuff I try to do to make the live stream actually something that's at least somewhat entertaining, where it kind of looks like I might maybe fucking know what I'm doing. But, once again, it's been another day where life has felt the need to kick me in the fucking beanbag. So here we sit. I am back to using my 3D printing laptop again because my computer has decided to shit the bed once again, doing the exact same thing it was doing before that I thought I had fixed. I have literally not installed anything other than, OBS and the fucking editing software, and it's back to freezing up for no apparent fucking reason. So, yeah, we're back on the laptop. I did make a couple of little changes where I've got a mouse and the camera and everything else plugged into the docking station I use with my computer, so I can, keep my mouse and my keyboard and my camera active. So it's a slightly better camera on my portable camera, but now the angle's all fucking wonky because I got the laptop sitting where the camera usually sits, so the angle's going to be wrong. Not that that's interesting to really anybody who's not watching this. And unfortunately, that means this episode is going to be going out without any fucking editing because I don't have the editing software on my fucking laptop. It's on my desktop that is, again, shit the bed once again for some fucking reason. I have no idea what's going on with it. What I do know is it may be time to get a new computer, and I don't have any fucking money for that because I also have some concerns about my vehicle. And obviously when it comes down to making a choice between my computer and my car, I need the car to go to work. I need work to get money so I can buy shit. So yeah, the computer's probably going to take the back seat for the time being. So we'll see how that impacts the show. I don't know if I really feel like doing this on the laptop every fucking week because the laptop just doesn't have the fucking horsepower required to do all the streaming elements. I mean, it's fine if I want to record episodes and if I wanted to install the software to clean them up and do it all the way I used to do things without doing the live stream, but it just really doesn't have the resources to run multiple things at the same time. So it's like, I don't know how the stream is looking to you guys. Oh shit, now it says I'm disconnected. That's fucking phenomenal. Okay, so I don't know what that looked like to you guys. It said I was disconnected and reconnected. Once again, my signal strength on here is not great. I don't know why. This is fucking ridiculous. It shouldn't be causing nearly this many fucking problems. But if I can't get things figured out, I may have to stop doing these live streams until I can get a better setup here. And like I said, unfortunately, with everything else that's going on in my life right now, that is not a priority. I mean, it's always fun to do these things. It's nice to... Okay, Shauna says I'm reconnected. That's good. Again, right now, she's the only one in the live stream. And like I said, Oh, nope. Now Bruce of the Weathered Soul Media Group has popped into the chat. Hey, Bruce. Good to see you, brother. I miss talking to you guys in the morning. But anyway, so... Yeah, I had started, roughing out plans for what I was going to talk about today. I have a lot going on. I'm actually very busy at work, surprisingly, this week and last week, and then I've got a slow week next week so far, and then the week after that I'm busy again. I'm not saying that to sound like I'm complaining. I'm just saying it's a good kind of busy, but at the same time it detracts from, because I don't have any fucking time that's my own anymore. I'm either at work or I'm at the restaurant or Hey, McShane's here. I can start again. McShane, you didn't miss anything. I'm just bitching about the fact that my computer shit the bed again, and I am now back to running off the laptop again. And so all the bells and the whistles and the normal, like the splash screen and all that shit wasn't here for the start of the live stream. It was literally a black screen while the music played, because I always start playing the music before I start the show, because it gives you guys time to react to the notification that the live stream has started. Now, anyway, so yeah, I was just lost my stream of consciousness rambling that was going on. But yeah, so I had sat down to start, putting together an episode in my head, or at least kind of getting a rough idea of what I was planning on talking about tonight. And then it just, like I said, today has decided to kick me in the fucking beanbag and tell me that, my life is definitely going to get more fucking complicated before it gets better again. And so, like I said, car problems, computer problems, everything. And realistically, it kind of drove everything out of my mind that I was really thinking about. Because right now, all I can think about is all this shit that I can't afford to fix that's broken. But anyway, that's not. I don't want pity. I don't want sympathy. I'm just venting. Excuse me. The big thing that was kind of on my mind as I was trying to grasp for, I had a whole thing planned out to do with Lindsey Grahm and his passing, and kind of how we talked last week briefly about the whole Mitch McConnell fucking Turtle Man thing. God damn it, disconnected again. Well, it's still recording, so I'm going to just keep talking and hopefully it reconnects. Yep, reconnected again. Hopefully you guys are going to catch this back up in a second here. But yeah, so I started thinking about Lindsey Grahm passing, and it's no secret I've never been a fan of that motherfucker. All right, I don't know why it keeps dropping. It's not like I got some kind of high-speed, wonderful connection where it's... it says I'm connected. It says I've got full bars on my Wi-Fi. It would be better if I was sitting on a hardwired connection, but I'm not. And like I said, unfortunately, this computer really doesn't have the horsepower to do more, so... Even if I disabled the onboard Wi-Fi and hooked up another Wi-Fi adapter, it would probably just make things lag more. I feel like this, again, I don't want to bitch. It's just this machine really wasn't made for doing this, I don't think. It's not that I don't appreciate having it, because it's better than nothing. But like I said, I may be suspending these. Let's see. Bill's having problems too. Catch the pod. Too noisy in there for him to listen. Well, thanks for popping in anyway, Bill. I'll be thinking of you, and the delicious Clockham Craft coffee that you are roasting. But anywho, yeah. So Lindsey Grahm. Okay, so Lindsey Grahm died suddenly, and I have thoughts about the matter, as of course I am wont to do, and. I've never been a fan of the guy. I thought he was a war hawk sack of shit. He's hypocritical in a lot of fucking ways. He never met a fucking war he didn't like. And it reflected in his policies and his voting records. I didn't agree with him on a lot of fucking things. He and Trump were going at each other pretty hard in the 2015 primaries and before Trump got elected the first time, but the Donald, he passes, the Donald has to, he was a great senator, blah, 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 blah. Goes out, does the talk show circuit, talking about Lindsey and trying to make all nicey and whatever. I honestly, at the end of the day, I don't give a shit. But it brought something to light with, and this is not news to anybody who's listened to more than 15 seconds of me talking, but... my contempt for the modern left and their just absolute lack of empathy or even basic humanity in a lot of fucking ways was just exemplified by this situation. Because, as I've said repeatedly, I did not care for Lindsey Grahm. I thought he was a war hawk. I thought he was a piece of shit, really. But I'm not out here tap dancing that he's fucking dead. I'm not celebrating the fact that the guy died. I'm not, I'm not one to dance on someone else's grave unless they're a genuinely horrible fucking person. And he's, like I said, I in a lot of ways, I can't stand the fucking guy. I'm not going to mourn his loss. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's some great patriot that the world's going to be poorer for having lost. But I'm also not going to go out there and act like it's some accomplishment that he went tits up and I'm still here. But if you look at any kind of social media, you will see just all these retards out there like, oh, yeah, we got another one down. And saying all this just simpering, yammering, stupid bullshit that just goes to show how wide that divide between the I don't even want to say the parties, because I think the parties are like left ring, right ring, same fucking turkey, as I've said repeatedly. But the divide between the population and the moral core, the beliefs, the ethics, and these assholes still somehow think they're the good guys when they are actively celebrating the deaths of people that they don't agree with. Whereas, when you look at the more conservative-leaning individuals, they will acknowledge when people they don't agree with die. They will, they will say they don't have a problem with the fact that they're dead. But unless it's a genuinely horrific piece of shit individual, they're not out there celebrating it. I mean, it's the whole mentality that the fucking left-wing whack jobs have, where they don't value life. And they only value their own. They only value, sameness and uniformity, and the idea that anybody that agrees with them is okay, and everybody else, you should be mocking their death. You should be wishing for people to die. These are the same retards that are constantly wishing for fucking, somebody to put a bullet in the president. And it's like morally repugnant to anyone with a modicum of self-awareness. Because you can't think you're the good guys when you're celebrating the deaths of people simply for the horrific thought crime of not agreeing with your way of life. I mean, and I understand certain people could probably take things I've said and say, well, Aaron, you would celebrate the deaths of, these people and those people. And I would counter with, I would not celebrate them. I would also not be saddened by them. I will acknowledge that it happened. And, in a lot of cases, well, even when you start talking about like the pedophiles and the goat fuckers, I'm not going to be out there celebrating their deaths. I'm not going to mourn them in the fucking slightest. Any of the like un-American pieces of shit that are out there trying to impose, their shithole country's values on my way of life. If they die tomorrow, I'm not going to mourn them. I'm not going to be out in the streets dancing around and making jokes like every purple-haired fucking land whale did after Charlie Kirk got shot. Like the fat cunt Chicago public school teacher that was out there making in some protest, making gestures because she saw somebody that was conservative of a neck shot and laughing about it and being a fucking pathetic piece of shit. I'm not going to do that stuff. I mean, I'm not going to mourn. And, particularly in the case of pedophiles, I will probably crack some fucking jokes. But it's not a celebration. It's more, I think they got what they had fucking coming to them. But that may also, be a slightly tainted thing, because I don't consider pedophiles people. They're subhuman scum fucks that are predatory and deserve death. Because they go after the most vulnerable of us, and that's fucking pathetic. Whereas, your average fucking barista is going to be out there mad that you don't agree with their 97 fucking made-up pronouns, and they want you to die for that. I think there's a slight difference of severity of offense, if nothing else. And so, yeah, I'm not out here tap dancing Lindsey Graham's death. I'm just also not mourning it because he was a fuck. I don't care. Now, what they did do is there's enough time between the election where they don't need to force a special runoff or anything. They did appoint his sister to actually carry out the remainder of his term as the appointed acting senator for his district or his state. A lot of people were saying, oh, well, this is probably nepotism. There's something hinky about this. It's not right. She's a DEI hire. And realistically, that's actually probably not the case. I mean, I've done a very superficial amount of digging on this woman, and ultimately, from what I can tell, she seems pretty on the stick. She's, been doing political, like executive stuff and political stuff for like 19 years, working in and out different forms of government in different capacities. So she knows the system. She's not stupid by any stretch of the imagination. Remains to be seen how much of her brother's proclivity she has, because, nature and nurture, they all grew up in the same fucking house. But she's definitely, qualified to an extent, more so than fucking AOC was qualified when she got elected. So I really don't consider it a DEI hire. I mean, maybe nepotism because they're trying to keep the seat in the family or something. I don't know. But at the end of the day, they chose to appoint her as a successor, and honestly, they definitely could have done fucking worse. So it is what it is, and I mean, he's dead. They didn't, he's not in the hospital with proof of life pictures coming out like they did with Mitch McConnell, where they're like, oh no, this had to be a proof of life picture because look, if you look at the newspaper in his hand, it's today's newspaper, and this was on Sunday. And, completely ignoring the fact that, with AI, it takes, a couple hours to get something fairly accurate. I don't know. You'd have to ask maybe Lisa. She could tell you. She does a lot more with AI than I do. I use AI to make my show art thumbnails. That's about it. People way more talented with it than me and way more experienced with it than me could probably explain the situation better. But at the end of the day, the picture was, his wife and him in a hospital bed and him with a newspaper in his hand. And it's just fucking ridiculous. I mean, he wasn't well off before he wound up in the fucking hospital. They're probably going to weekend at Bernie's him around until they can get one more vote out of his corpse. I at this point, I don't believe, like, oh yeah, here's the proof of life. Here, I spoke to Mitch today. He's getting better. He's doing his physical therapy. He's doing this. He's doing that, to the point where it's actually become kind of a meme on the internet of people saying, oh, I spoke to Mitch and blah, 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 blah. And it's, a lot of it's ridiculous shit that never would have come out of that scumfuck's mouth. But, here we sit. Sorry, I keep shifting in the chair. It's very uncomfortable today. I also having a sciatic nerve issue where sitting for too long just fucking hurts, and is also making me grumpy on top of all the other shit that's going sideways these days. That's my own fault, I guess. I got cautiously optimistic that things were getting better, and life hates me to be happy apparently. So here I sit, trying to figure things out. Excuse me. So yeah, that's kind of where I was on that. And then there's, I'm sorry, Bob. I'm trying to sit still, but it fucking hurts. But, close your eyes, pretend you're listening to the audio version. McShane said he did speak to Mitch yesterday, and he's tired of the hospital food already. Well, that's understandable. Hospital food is by and wide. It has a bad reputation for a reason. It's not actually necessary to have shitty tasting hospital food. You can still have seasoned, flavorful food that meets all the medical necessities of whatever your condition is, but that ain't cheap. Now, on the other hand, I'm willing to bet if Mitch is actually not just a turnip being kept alive by a breathing machine right now, he's probably in a hospital where the food's decent. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's not like he's fucking paying for it, so why wouldn't he get the best? Yeah, that's just my thoughts on the matter. And I do actually feel very qualified to speak on that, considering what I've been doing for a living for, the last 30 fucking years. I do have some experience in dietary nutrition, and I understand those things. I'm actually a certified food service professional. I have certifications. It's a thing. I know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so the next thing I wanted to bring up briefly is, we've got it seems to be becoming a trend where it's every couple of days now you get some fucking illegal being confronted by ICE who tries to run him over, and then he gets the fucking ballistic treatment and ceases to be a burden on the taxpayers. And in typical fashion, every leftist retard out there, including the fucking Hershey-headed motherfucking moron in Chicago, feel the need to weigh in with their 2 pennies on why it is that this is such a fucking travesty, and that their new marching orders must have come out because all of a sudden everybody's referring to ICE as Donald Trump's private police and his secret police, his private army, his personal army that he's using to just, go out and wantonly kill every motherfucker that tries to run an ICE agent over with their fucking car. See, that's where you lose me when you're trying to play for sympathy for these poor fucked upon assholes. There was a guy in Texas that got ventilated a few days ago, and every fucking leftist retard out there comes out talking about, oh, well, he was a father to his sons. He was his whole world. He built a life here. He had a construction company. He lived in Texas for 35 years. And they say all this shit, completely ignoring the fact that when he was approached by ICE for being in the country illegally, yeah, he was here for 35 years. He had kids in the United States. He was operating a business in the United States. How the fuck he was doing that when he wasn't here legally, I'm not really sure. But at the end of the day, he was. Yes, he had his construction company or landscaping company or whatever the fuck it was. I can't remember. And he had kids, and his kids are all sad. And even the quotes from the kids were, well, they called him blah, 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 and it meant he was their whole world. Yeah, well, even the quotes weren't in fucking English, so my sympathy's a little bit tempered for these assholes, because if you are in this country for 35 years, have a huge house, you build yourself a life, you have a company, and you can't be bothered to apply for fucking citizenship, and when you get called out on it, instead of just eating it, paying the money to do things the right fucking way, which by all descriptions, this asshole probably could have managed, you take and you try and run over the fucking agents with your car because you're a piece of shit. I don't care if you've been living in the country for 50 fucking years and you never bothered anybody at all. The instant you decide your response is to try and kill the people that are approaching you, you are a piece of shit. End of story. No sympathy for you. So this guy gets ventilated, and every fucking liberal retard comes out with their marching orders. Oh, he was a father of 2, and he was here for 35 years, and he never broke the law the entire time he was here. He broke the law every fucking day he was here for 35 years without getting his citizenship. He broke the law. I don't know how he was paying taxes, but it was not above board, because if he's not a U.S. citizen, he doesn't have a social security number. How is he paying his fucking taxes? At the end of the day, every last one of these assholes that's coming to stump for these motherfuckers is going out and saying the same shit. Well, they weren't a criminal. They were just living their lives. And then they tried to kill the ICE agents. And that is just the unifying factor in every last one of these things in the last few days where ICE has had to ventilate some asshole. Every single time, it's because they are defending themselves. There was a guy in Chicago that shot at ICE agents and got lit the fuck up. I don't feel bad for him at all. You know why? Because he shot at fucking ICE agents. Oh, well, he wasn't here as a criminal. He became a criminal when he crossed the border illegally. He verified he was a criminal when he decided to start dumping at people instead of just saying, hey, you caught me. It's a case of these motherfuckers. And then there was one in Maine, same situation. The guy goes out, gets confronted by ICE agents, and attempts to run him over and gets a little fucking ballistic therapy to the fucking dome. Okay, we didn't have to pay to deport that one either. We could ship his remains back, put him in a fucking box, send him FedEx third class. Who gives a shit? The simple fact of the matter is, the instant you decide to react with violence, like that's ever fucking worked for any of these assholes, you no longer deserve any sympathy. And every leftist retard who's out there acting like, oh, well, ICE are the bad guys because these poor innocent guys were just going about their lives. And when ICE agents were trying to enforce United States law by removing them from the country, instead of saying, hey, I want my day in court, instead of saying, hey, maybe I should go back to my country and fill out some fucking paperwork. Maybe I shouldn't try and kill the fucking agents. But again, these people aren't law-abiding citizens. They're not here with the best of intentions. They're here illegally. It doesn't matter how long they stay off the fucking radar and how down they keep their heads until they go through the process to do things the right way. They're fucking criminals, whether you like it or not. And I'm saying this is somebody who works in an industry that's full of fucking illegals. I'm just, calling a spade a spade. It's the food service industry thrives on undocumented immigrants. If you're working in any sort of mom and pop shop, you're either working with teenagers or you're working with fucking illegals. If you're working in some, big city, high-end restaurant, you might have a few upper tier guys, but the dishwashers, the busboys, they probably don't speak real good English. They probably got a social security number for somebody that died in 1963. And I'm saying that as a fucking, literally something I've experienced where I had a guy come in and apply for a job, give me a social security card. I went and processed his paperwork, and it came back that he was fucking dead. I went and said something to him about it because he was waiting to find out when he started. And he looked me in the face and he said, no, that's my number. And I said, no, it's not. This guy's dead. Está muerte. And the guy said, no. After a little poking and prodding and getting one of my guys to talk to him who spoke better Spanish than me, God damn it, dropped again. Oh, this is infuriating. I'm sorry for that. I'm not sure what the last thing you guys heard was, but yeah, so this guy, after getting one of my cooks to translate for the guy, we basically come to find out, and this is another issue I have with the illegal immigration into this country. I believe immigrants are necessary. Immigrants make the world a better place as long as they actually are immigrants and not fucking invaders, but we'll get to that. But the point is, the immigration system is so convoluted that a lot of these fucking illegals don't even realize that they're fucking here illegally. They are fucking operating under the ideas that somebody put in their fucking head that, because they gave them a bunch of money and got some papers, that they're okay. Now, I'm not saying that's the case for all of them, and I'm not saying that's a case where, we can't deport anybody because these poor fucked upon people might be getting screwed over. They're still here illegally. Now, do I believe we should be able to streamline the process and let people in more efficiently who want to come here and assimilate and become American citizens? Yes, I fucking do. I think the system is ridiculous right now because it costs thousands of dollars and can take fucking years to do it the right way. And it's a scam. It's a money grab in a lot of ways by the fucking federal government. I mean, yes, I understand there should be some fees involved because you got to pay the fucking employees somehow. And if you're not a taxpayer yet, then you got to kick in some way. But at the end of the day, a lot of these illegals probably don't realize they're here illegally. It may be different these days because, we had just the wide open border policy. And none of the guys I ever talked to who had paperwork they paid for that they thought was going to keep them okay and keep them out of fucking trouble, not a damn one of them just walked over the fucking border. They weren't in part of those caravans that were coming in thousands of people at a time. These are guys that paid good money to somebody to smuggle them across the fucking border and then wound up, here's your paperwork, you're good to go. And they believed it. They figured they were covered because they gave this guy, thousands of dollars or the equivalency thereof in their local currency. And they just figured they were covered because now they had paperwork, so everything must be okay. And then, you tell them, no, your social security number belongs to a dead guy, and they look at you like you got a third eyeball growing out of your fucking forehead. And, that's too bad. Now, if I were to say, have this guy come in and I run a social security number, find out he's dead, and then ICE shows up, it becomes a case of, go with him peacefully. Don't hit him with your fucking car. Don't shoot at him. I mean, if you're going to run, that's great. You're going to get deported tired. You might get away, but they're going to find you eventually. Don't try and kill him, and you'll still be alive to try and come back the right fucking way. I mean, people are acting like ICE is just randomly grabbing up people and throwing them in a bus and dropping them off somewhere else. 90% of the people ICE is grabbing are already understanding deportation orders, which means they had their day in court and they chose not to adhere to the ruling that was given to them. It's like that fucking clown that the guy who they were drinking margaritas with down in South America after he got deported. His name escapes me right now. I'm tired. I'm grumpy. I don't have a good frame of reference. My ass hurts. All the good stuff. But yeah, point being, there's a lot of immigrants here that really they want to be part of this country. They want to live a better life. They aren't these whiny, entitled shitheads like the fucking millennials and Gen Z's immigrants that are going on their social medias, making videos, talking about how they're not here because they think America's better than the shithole they came from. They're here because it's an opportunity to make money and blah, 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 and, you know, have a slightly better quality of life than the land they left. Well, here's the thing. That actually does mean you think it's a better place here. So you're fucking stupid. You're young, you're a fucking retard, and you don't understand. If you want to be part of this country, you want to reap the benefits of being here, you need to adapt and become part of this country. You don't get to come in and keep your fucking bullshit third world identity and say that everyone else needs to honor and respect your fucking shitty ways. If that's how you want to live, go back to your fucking shithole. That's how I feel about all of these assholes. The fucking all the Haitians who have lost their temporary status that are getting shipped back to Haiti, where everybody's like, oh my God, you can't ship them back. Their lives will be so much worse. They'll be in danger. The T in TPS is temporary status. It's fucking time for them to go. The earthquake that was the validation to bring all these fucking third world street shitting, cat eating assholes to the country was the earthquake. The earthquake is way the fuck over. They can go home and try and, you know, if they're such a benefit to society, if they're such a boon for the nation in which they are a part of, let them go back and benefit their homeland and fucking be a boon there. Let them go back and restore, you know, take all that greatness that they bring to the table and go make your country not a third world shithole. Problem is, it doesn't work that way because they're not a boon. They're a fucking drain. And people don't want to acknowledge that. These fucking, you know, suicidal empathy having white fucks, college educated white fucks that don't have two goddamn brain cells left working in their head, that aren't marching in deep red lockstep because they're all fucking commies. I don't mean deep red like Republican. I mean deep red like fucking, you know, Mao and fucking Stalin. These fucking brainwashed retards are, oh my God, well, we have all this privilege and advantage, and that's not fair to these poor third world shit upon assholes. So we need to let them come here and just degrade the fucking quality of life in our country for everybody. And then we're going to make excuses when they act like third world shitheads because, oh, they don't know any better. Well, you know what? They're in a country that does know better. And if they can't live by those standards, they can get the fuck out. It's really not that goddamn complicated. I don't understand why so many people have a fucking problem with that basic precept. If you're not willing to adapt and adjust to the country in which you are living, get the fuck out and go somewhere where your shit values are appreciated. And you get, I mean, it bothers me in so many different fucking ways. It's a case of, you know, now granted, when you get above a certain tier on the fucking scale of people that are bitching about how unfair it is that these poor shit upon assholes are getting kicked out of the country, it's because they got skin in the game. They're working for an NGO. They make a living off of these fucking poor fucked upon people. They're getting kickbacks. You know, it helps them fucking sleep without an Ambien. Whatever their fucking reasoning behind it is, none of it's valid. None of it's good. It's all self-serving horse shit. And frankly, I have nothing but contempt for those fucking people. I mean, the ones who should fucking know better but don't. I mean, there is just a plethora of educated idiots in this fucking country who don't seem to get it that they're brainwashed fucking retards. And educated idiots, self-important tool bags taught by fucking career academics who have never created a real thing in the real world, out here living these, you know, bullshit ideologies that have no application in the real world. And they fail everywhere they've ever been tried because they are flawed ideologies. But these retards still somehow think that's the right way to do things because that's what my fucking worthless fucking career academic professor told me. And obviously I went to college, so I'm smarter than you, even though I can't actually explain these things without calling you a bigot or a fascist or a phobe or some other stupid fucking term that has lost all its fucking meaning because of how overused it is by these fucking idiots who can't even use the terms properly. So you do get these fucking, again, it's like I've said repeatedly, I don't give a shit when somebody calls me racist. I don't care anymore because that term has been so bantered around, it's pointless. The people who feel that way about the things I say aren't qualified for me to give a fuck about. They are fucking whiny, self-serving, self-important, fart-sniffing sacks of shit, and I don't care what they think of me. Because it's not like I'm saying, it's this particular race that's the problem, but they'll call me racist. And my favorite one is when I start saying that I'm tired of all the goat fuckers coming into this country and trying to turn it into the same third world shitholes they left. And Islam will enter every home in the world, and this is how it is, and and you will be converted. It's the will of Allah, and blah 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 blah. No, the fuck it won't, because I don't have any kind of tolerance for those people. I'm again, this is one of those situations. Oh well, you're a bigot. Okay, and I don't fucking care anymore. I'm a bigot because I refuse to be told that my way of life is inferior, even though my way of life is the only reason you're allowed to have your shit attitude and your shit opinions. Fuck yourself. And people, oh well, you're Islamophobic. No, I'm not. We've had this conversation before. Phobias are irrational fears. I don't have an irrational fear. I have a massive degree of contempt. And then people say, oh, well, it's because people misinterpret the holy scriptures and blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. These are like literally the things that are laid out in their doctrine, and it's fucking retarded. It's a case of like I said, people tell me I'm racist because I have a problem with Islam. Well, I say it's incompatible with Western values. And if I'm racist, show me where Islam is on a map. It's not a race. It's an ideology. It's a faith. It's not a fucking race, you fucking retards. But again, that's neither here nor there. It's a case of, if it was such a wonderful ideology, people would go to it voluntarily. It wouldn't need to be forced upon things. Good ideas don't require force for them to spread. Good ideologies don't require force for them to take hold in other cultures. Other cultures look at it and go, hey, that's good. And then they voluntarily do it. Anything that requires force is probably a shit fucking idea. That's, just kind of my thoughts on the matter. If you have to enforce your beliefs on the rest of the fucking world, particularly when those beliefs are structured around the ideology of coddling failed men, because at the end of the day, that really is my opinion of that particular doctrine, is every tenet of that religion has to do with underdeveloped men. Well, women must be covered because otherwise they are being sinful because they're tempting men. And yes, Bob, I have heard of the Nation of Islam. They're fucking retards. And so what? But it's still not a country. It's an organization. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, every tenet of this faith. Well, women must be covered because otherwise men will be tempted to rape them. And if they're out in public and their hair is uncovered and their faces are uncovered and their bodies are uncovered and they get raped, that's their fault because they were out there knowingly tempting these weak-ass, no-control-having piece of shit men who can't control their impulses any better than a fucking toddler. Literally every tenet of that horse shit ideology is centered around being a failed excuse of a fucking man. You have to enforce your beliefs on everyone else because if there's anything that possibly contradicts your ideology, you fail your test as a human being. I'm not impressed. This is not some faith, some doctrine that I would subscribe to because it encourages fucking weakness and failure. It is a pathetic excuse of an ideology that coddles fucking failed men. You can't control yourself around your sister because she's showing her ankles. Oh, wow. Hey, look at that really sexy goat. It's okay if you fuck the goat as long as you don't eat it. Just make sure you sell it to the neighboring village. And yes, that's actually one of the tenets of Islam. Is bestiality is not a problem as long as you don't eat the fucking animal after you're done banging it. So, yeah, it's realistic. Like I said, every tenet, every ideology, it's okay to fuck children. Child marriage is perfectly acceptable in that ideology because these fucking weak-minded, weak-willed, weak-spined, sack of shit individuals can't contain their fucking lust for children, which is utterly fucking disgusting. And it's just ridiculous. If you're marrying somebody whose age number could be counted without using, if you can count the age of your bride without taking your fucking shoes off, you're a piece of shit. And then, oh, well, you just don't understand their culture. What fucking culture? There's no culture there. It's weakness embraced and lauded by the fucking weak-minded parasites that practice this shit. And they have this cowardly ideology of go to other places and cry victim until there's enough of you to overwhelm them. That's not strength. That's fucking cowardice. and it's disgusting. They want to act like, oh, well, we're the warriors of Allah and all this other horse shit. They're fucking clowns. They're cowards. It's utterly fucking ridiculous. And no, Bob, the answer must not be The Handmaid's Tale. That's not any fucking better. Same flaws, same problems, different fucking figurehead. That's literally it. I mean, I don't have a lot of sympathy for any. I mean, while I do consider myself a spiritual individual. I do believe in God. I do believe in a higher power. I don't give credence to any fucking religion because every single one of them is something that was propagated by a man. And men are flawed, and men are weak, and men are failures. And unfortunately, the ones that tend to rise through the ranks of ideologies based on controlling other men are generally low-life motherfuckers with no scruples, no morals, no values. Yep, and we dropped again. Okay, so now it says we're undropped. So back to what I was saying. So yeah, I don't get behind any religious ideology that involves the suppression of the will of other people. See, anything that requires absolute obedience and absolute, adherence to a set of tenets like that, I don't consider it a fucking sign of strength. If your ideology requires other people to bow to you in any way, shape, or form, fuck you. That's all there is to it. So no, The Handmaid's Tale is not any fucking better. Anyway, that's kind of all I got for the moment. I think it's just Bob and Shauna in the chat right now. So I am going to take a couple seconds. You guys got anything in particular you want to hear my thoughts on? Because I'm getting tired of this constantly dropping shit, so I'm probably going to stick a pin in this. All right, and since I have no comments from the peanut gallery, I'm, again, no recipe this week. I keep fucking up. Everything keeps going sideways, and it keeps getting pushed to the back of my mind. So, sorry. I'll get back to having recipes eventually. And I guess for now, I'm going to say that's what I had to say.